So, my name is Caitlin, and I'm part of GSA, and this is my coming out story. I tried to shorten it, but it didn't really work. And I told my story last year, and I was kind of dreading it, so I just kind of like put it in the back of my mind, like, oh, whatever, it'll just happen. And then an hour before it kind of hit me, and I was like, oh crap, I better write something down. So I prepared this week, and I ended up with a novel. So bear with me, I might get sidetracked. And I think I got pretty lucky. I didn't get like kicked out or have a big dramatic story. So I hope you guys get a laugh. I had a lot of fun experiences. So my first experience with anything gay was in first grade. And just to give you some context, I went to public, false. I went to private school my entire life. So, first grade was my 1 year of public school, and this pretty much sums up how it went. You know when you play handball, and like, kids are like good at one thing? Handball was my stuff. Like, I was good at handball. So I'm playing handball, like, and then you run around and get back in line, waiting for your one hit. And then a stray ball comes, so okay, time out, grab the ball. So I turn around and give it to this upperclassman, and this is what he says, give me the ball, faggot. So I did what any self-respecting first grader would do. I chucked it as hard as I could at his nuts. Making sure I'm on track. Yeah. So, little did I know, 10 years later, he would be right. My next experience was probably middle school, I want to say freshman year. We're playing charades. So, if I don't know a word, I just kind of like sound it out. So I get up and I'm like, yeah, this is great. I'm gonna rock this. I get up, I read the word, and I'm like, I don't know the word, can I pick another one? They're like, no, just do it. I'm like, what's lingerie? And they all start laughing, and I'm like, I don't get it. And I'm like, somebody tell me what this is. And they're like, just Google it. And looking back, I'm like, telling a lesbian to Google lingerie? Like, no. And so I'm like in my room the next day, like, no one's here, like making sure it's secretive, hit enter, and at first I was like, oh! And then I was like, ooh. So that was my second experience, so, yeah. So, I was in the closet all of high school. You know how private school is. It's not very welcoming. I didn't really come out until college, and I got here, and I was talking to one of my friends, and she goes, like she was going to test it. All right, Caitlin, here's what we're going to do. You're going to pick out some guys that you think are hot, and then you're going to tell me. So I was like, okay, like, I don't know why you're having me pick out guys. So I pick out a few, and like, yeah, okay, he's kind of cute, like that one. And she, so yeah, this is her reaction. Oh, you are so gay. I told you, like, this test is ridiculous. So in high school, I think my first crush was in 8th grade. It was on a guy. I didn't know any better. I was young. Like, I'm still friends with him. He's great. Just not, yeah. And then my next crush was on a girl, and like, this girl blew my mind. Like, she was awesome. And she was my best friend. Like, I thought she was the bomb. Like, we hung out every day. I would go home and call her every day. I had her number memorized. I'm not going to say the number. I still know it. That's really creepy. And looking back now, I realize, like, that was really stalkerish. But we were, like, best friends. And so when I realized that I had feelings for her, it was never like, oh, should I not tell her? Should I tell her? I was just so naive and like, of course she'll like me back. I like her. So I ended up writing her a letter, which is a bad idea. Unless you are convinced with in writing that they like you back, don't do that. And this wasn't like I like you, do you like me back? Check one of the boxes, yes or no. This is like, you are the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life, and I will love you forever kind of letter. Yeah, that's what I said, okay. So yeah, I pretty much wrote her another novel. I wrote like 2 pages of like front and back, like how much I love you, and poured my heart out to her. And first she was like, okay, I don't like you like that, but it's cool, we'll still be friends. And so I was like, bummed, but then I was like, okay, we're still friends, like that's not the worst thing in the world, right? Wrong. It was at this point in my life that I learned girls can lie. So, it was actually a couple weeks later that I found this out. And, side note, so begins a time in my life I call the dark ages. One day when I came home from school, I walk in the kitchen and grab a little snack pack pudding and sit down, and my mom's like, Kayla, can you come up here? And I was like, okay, sure. What's up, Mom? And she responds, we need to talk. And this, you know the voice that your mom gets when she's like, when you're in trouble? I call it the oh shit tone, as in when you hear it, you go, oh shit, I better get there quick. So, I realized this, and I go, this isn't just like a, hey, I want to talk to you and see how your day at school was. This was like, buck up your britches, it's going down kind of talk. So, yeah. So, as a kid, I immediately think of everything that I've done wrong in the last week, and I'm going through my head no, she won't find out about that. And at the time, it didn't even cross my mind, the letter that I gave to this girl. And so, when I get downstairs and I turn the corner in my kitchen and I see my mom sitting at the table, and there on the table is the note, and I was like, no. I felt like I had literally died. I remember just feeling so ashamed, my heart dropped, and I felt sick to my stomach because being gay in a Christian home is the biggest sin ever. And so over the next year and a half, I kind of just became numb to everything. I just completely turned off all my feelings. My mom had told me that she got the note from the other girl's mom, and that she went from a whole range of options like anger to denial to shame, and my mom had no idea what to do. So she sent me to a Christian therapist where I learned all sorts of useful techniques like anointing with oil, renouncing your demons, pain aversion therapy, which was a rubber band around the wrist. And at first I was like, that's not bad, okay, whatever, but I didn't have no idea what it really was. So, pain aversion therapy is you use pain to disassociate pleasure with your thoughts. So it would be an example of every time you see a girl you think is hot, you snap the rubber band. So, little high school me was I could do this, whatever. So, it wasn't bad at first. Every once in a while I'll be cute girl walk by and I think, oh hey, what's up, how you doing? And I remember, no, you were Jesus, more that girl. And I would snap the rubber band. And then ADD would kick in and I'd be oh, what's up here? I wonder what the contract is. What's for dinner tonight? Do I have homework? And then I would come right back to earth just in time to see the cheerleaders walking by, and this is what would happen. It didn't work. So the last year and a half of high school, I think, when I wrote the letter was midway through junior year, so the last year and a half was just being so depressed and full of guilt because growing up in a Christian family and going to private school all the way through, being gay is the worst sin, even though God thinks all sins are equally bad. And it wasn't until the last few months of senior year that I began to dig myself out of the huge trench that I had created of depression and self-hate. I realized that this was not good for me, and I switched friend groups. I tried to get involved with things and go places, and it started working. This was also the time that I was picking at college, and pretty much my only goal was to get as far away from everyone that I could. So when I got accepted to Whitworth, I was like, yeah, peace out! I'm gone. Like, it was far away from Southern California, so I was excited. But I think my mom was more excited than I was. Like, if this is her bed, okay, hold on. Reenactment. She was like this. And she's like 40 years old. I was like, I didn't think she could do that. So I found out I would be living in BJ and not knowing anyone. I packed up and came over 1,000 miles away. Those first few nights were really hard. I was an emotional wreck, ranging anywhere from I'm free, no more parents, to I'm so alone, nobody knows me. So it was pretty dramatic. But during freshman year, I did meet two very great people who are still my best friends to this day, Josh and Brenda. So one day, I'm just hanging out in Josh's room, and I'm like, this guy's cool, like, I can tell him. So I'm like, trying to psych myself up, and I was like, no, Brenda, she's my girl, I'll tell her first. So I'm sitting on Josh's bed, and I'm like, I just gotta do it, like, I'll text her. And so I was like thinking, wait. Before I do this, like, what happened the last time that I told anyone, or that anyone found out, like, and I was like, I'm stupid, what are they gonna do, send me to therapy? Like, that's already been done, okay. So I was just like, whatever, I'll text Brenda, and I wrote it down, because I, like, word for word, this is the text. Sup, girl, I'm gay, let's go to lunch. And I was terrified of what she was going to say, and she said, okay, sweet, I'm hungry, let's go. So I went out with this boost of confidence, and I turned to Josh, and I'm like, hey, I like girls. And he's like, he's on his computer, yeah, cool, whatever, okay. And then, and I was like, I tried again, because I was so confused. I was like, no, hey, Josh. And he looks at me, he's like, yeah, bro? And I said, I'm gay. And he goes, haha, shut up, no, you're not. And I was like, I was even more confused. I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, I was super confused, and I was like, yes, I am. And he's like, no, And I was like, I like girls. And he's like, no. And so this goes on for like 4 more times. And then I guess he believes me because he goes, okay, sweet, check out this hot girl. And I was shocked. I was like, all right, that was easy. Like, coming from this super strict environment where you get sent to therapy for writing one tiny little letter, like, which I still have. Awesome place. So, going from the super strict environment to college where no one really cared, they were just hungry, it was awesome. I was no longer scared to be who I was for so long. I had to hide, like, one of the most important parts, well, that I thought, of who I was, and, like, I didn't have to, like, hide who can't read my writing. And now I found myself, like, not having to hide anything. I remember walking around campus just like, oh, it's so sunny, it's so beautiful, and, like, kind of thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, this is the first day that I can actually say I'm happy since I started, like, the whole coming out process. So I was like, this is cool. I like this. So every time I went home, it would kind of be like, pack up your clothes, pack yourself back into the closet. It was just, we didn't talk about it. And my mom would eventually, not like right away, but I'd get home maybe like an hour later, I'm laying on my bed. She'd kind of peek in, and like, this whole thing was a dance around the big giant rainbow elephant in the room because she didn't want to talk about it. So, and she never said like gay, lesbian, homosexual, and like, we weren't really close, so she thought it was a phase, and I knew that she didn't like it. So it was always, hey, are you still, having those feelings? And it was like, yeah, Mom, still gay. How are you? And so, like, that has been every couple of years going home. That was what happened. so summer of last year was the first year that she finally kind of started getting used to the idea, because I had stopped tiptoeing around it and kind of pushed buttons. So before I came up to school last year, we go shopping. And, like, I don't really like shopping, and I don't need a lot of stuff, so Mom's always like, please let me take you shopping. I'm like, no, I don't need anything, it's fine. So she finally, like, begged me, and I was like, okay, like, sure. And she's like, please let me buy you stuff. It'll make me feel like a good mom. I'm like, Mom, you're a great mom. Like, you don't need to buy me anything. So we go to Kohl's, and little side tangent. Every time I go shopping, it's, like, kind of frustrating, because I go into the men's department, and they're like vultures, like, I'll go to, like, the Axe section or, like, the boxer briefs section, and then they'll come out of nowhere. Oh, can I help you? Is this for your boyfriend / dad / brother? And I'm like, no, it's for me. And then it gets the awkward, like, I don't know what to say. And then they just, like, kind of, okay, well, let me leave if you need anything, and then they run. And so, like, it's always super awkward, because, like, it's great. They're like, oh, let me help her. Oh, it's awkward now. I don't know what to do. So we're shopping at Kohl's, and, like, I had one of those experiences, and I think my mom saw us, so that gave her courage or something. So we're looking at backpacks, and I find this blue one, and then we come up and we see this one, which is B's awesome backpack, and I didn't, like, look at it. I was just like, okay, rainbow backpack. Like, I have a solid blue one. Can everybody see? So we see this backpack, and my mom goes, she goes, that's okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. It just came out of my mouth before I even realized what I said. I'm just like, Mom, it's okay. Like, I don't care. You're still learning. Like, you don't know. So that was one fun experience with her, and, like, so it makes me laugh, like, every time, because every time I see these backpack, I'm always like, oh, my mom. Like, so, I'm going to start a fire up here. Okay. So, she's becoming more and more okay with it, and, like, I kind of started pushing a little bit more in her face about it. It's not always been, like, smooth sailing. There's definitely been a lot of speed bumps. So, I think this is B's favorite part. I'm getting ready to fly home for fall break of last year, and my mom calls me up, and it was like the usual, hi, how are you? How are classes? How's your homework? How's your friends? Are you doing your homework? Are you skipping classes? Don't get behind. It's expensive. Like, the whole pressure, parents, we love you, but do good or you're a screw-up kind of thing. And after the kind of small talk, I can hear, and I, like, right away from these two sound effects, I know exactly where she is in our house. So there's, like, a leather chair in our offices that looks just like this, and I can hear her, and, like, these two sound effects, and I know exactly where she is, because our leather chairs make that, like, weird noise, so when she gets up, it was, like, from, like, her skin from the thing, and then I hear this, like, ungodly, like, screeching, grinding sound, and I know that she closed the sliding door in the office, and it was like, slowly she closed the door, and I know she's in the office, so she's hiding, and she shut the door, so she's going to say something, but I don't know what. So, like, I'm preparing myself for, like, something bad that she doesn't want to say in front of any of my other family members, so I'm like, I don't know what she's going to say. So, yes, getting ahead of myself. Okay. So I'm, like, preparing myself, and then my mom goes, Katie, can I ask you something? And I'm like, sure, Mom, what's up? And she goes, I'm like, what, Mom? I can't hear you. And I'm like, Mom, I can't understand you. And then a little bit louder, it was like, do lesbians like spaghetti? And I was like, I was like, yeah, Mom, I love spaghetti. Like, we're just normal people too. Like, we eat food, you know. So, yeah, that was just a couple experiences with my mom. And, like, throughout this whole coming out process, like, it's brought us closer together, which is great because at first there was a huge rift. And so this summer was the summer of firsts. It was like the first summer that I was really out to anyone in my family except for my mom, because she'd always swept it under the rug and kind of danced around the elephant, and we never talked about it. So it was like the first summer that she had spoke openly in front of other family members in a room about it. So I had started some conversations with my older brothers that were quite difficult. And me and my older brother are like super close. Like, I know everybody says that, but like really we were super close. I've known him all life. I think I've only seen him cry 3 times, and one was when he was 5, and my dad decided to jump out from the corner, scare him, and my brother screamed, fainted, and cried all at the same time. So that was the first time. And then the second was when our grandma died a few years ago, and the third was when we had a huge, difficult talk this summer. And he said something that I will never forget. He told me, well, while I don't agree with it, you're still my baby sister, and I will always want the best for you. And this made me break down and lose it, because I was trying to play tough guy and not cry. And then it became a bunch of blubbering and like crying and like, but it was super good because we had kind of danced around this issue because I'd never told anyone about it. And so another first this summer was the first summer that I brought a girl home to meet my family. And I've been talking to my mom about her and like wanting her to meet the fam. So I was like, Mom, I'm seeing this girl, I want her to meet the family. Like, when you feel comfortable, let me know so I can bring her by. Because I didn't want to like drive her crazy and like push too hard. So this happens like a few times, and I text my mom every time like, hey, do you want to meet her again? And it was always kind of like, you know what, maybe next time. And so one day I got the bright idea, I'm just going to go for the sneak attack. Like, so that was a bad idea, but so me and the girl that I'm seeing at the time are sitting in the car outside my house, and I was just like, I called my mom and I was like, so Mom, what's up? And she's like, nothing, just cooking in the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, well, we're just in the neighborhood, and well, do you want to meet her? And she was like, sure. And I was like, okay, well, like, what do you want me to introduce her as? Because I was like, I don't want to like sashay in the door and be like, look, Mom, here she is. And so she was like, how about your friends? So I was like, okay, like my brother or dad must be home, like my mom already knows about her, so she'd be like, well, you introduce her as what she is if she is just her. So I was like, cool, Mom, we'll be home in about a minute. So we literally sat in the car for a minute. And then we get out and go inside and open the door, and I'm like, hey, Mom, we're here. Like, and I hear from upstairs, like, hi, honey, I'll be right down. So we're going to the kitchen, and my older brother's there, and like, I introduce him, and like, my brother's not an idiot, like, he knew. And so I was like, hey, this is my friend, this is my brother, introduce him. And like, she looks away, and he gives me this look like, hey, I know, I got you, I know what's up. Like, I got you, friend, okay, whatever you say. And so I just kind of like wave him off and like, shut up. And like, then he goes into the garage to like tinker and do man stuff. And then, so we're sitting there eating snacks, and like, my mom is like she cleans the house before the house cleaners come. So she like had this dainty snack prepared of like round, perfectly shaped veggies with the ranch in the middle and like apple and cheese and everything. She's just like, yeah, just make yourself some snacks. And like, no, she will like prepare. So she threw it together in like a minute, and then so we're eating snacks. And she comes downstairs and I introduce them, and everything's going fine. And like a minute later, she was like, oh, this is your friend. Oh, and then she goes right into like 20Q grill session on her life story. And like, I went into panic mode. I was like, oh no, this poor girl, like, she's never gonna talk to me again. And like, some people are like champion hot dog eaters. Like, that's what they do. My mom is the champion conversationalist. Like, she talks for hours. So I was like, this poor girl, like, I need to get her out of here. So I was like, okay, Mom, we just stopped by to say hi. We're leaving. Okay, bye. I love you. Bye. And we like ran out the door. And I just felt so bad because like the first time my mom is meeting anyone, she like grills them. And so I was like, okay, like, oh, cool to tell, Mom. that was another adventure with my mom, and like, yeah, so, okay, sorry, checklist. So every day has kind of been a new adventure with her, and now that I'm here, we kind of talk. I call her on the phone every day. We openly talk about it now. She's really supportive, and she's starting to come around, and that's the end. I just have a little bit of encouragement. For anyone who's questioning or like thinking about coming out, I found this quote from Rachel Maddow, who's like a popular news anchor. She's the first openly gay one, and this quote has been like hugely helpful in my process, and it's just the single best thing. The single best thing about coming out of the closet is that nobody can insult you by telling you what you've just told them, and like this has been huge and like helpful for me because like growing up the biggest insult I could think of was like, oh my God, you're so gay. And in my head, I was always like, kind of like, they knew. But, like, this kind of changed my thinking into, like, it's not the worst thing anymore. It's becoming, like, people are way more accepting of it now. And it just kind of took away, like, all the fear that I had about it, because it's not like someone's gonna be like, you're so gay. Oh wait, that doesn't really work. You kind of just said that. Like, so it helped me, like, it gave me a lot of courage. So I just wanted to pass on that encouragement. Yeah, that's the end of my story. I don't think there's anyone else.